All right, welcome to another edition of the Vicktory Life Legacy Spotlight. I got a very special guest. I got my family in the building, my cousin, Mike, aka Oop. I'm really excited about this interview. This for those checking this out. This is not my first time interviewing him. I've interviewed
Yeah,
him different times for my column and different times at his camps, man. But I thought it'd be good for us to chop it up today during the quarantine and take it back down the memory lane, man. So Mike, how you holding up right now, man? How you doing since the whole quarantine?
I'm holding up, cuz I'm hanging in there, just like everybody else. Just trying to stay strong, but I can't. You know, I think it's a good time for all types of quarantine, because now I get to just let my body breathe and catch up. You know what I mean? Let all my facial hair grow back. I'm looking a little rough right now, cuz, but it's all good, man. I'm still holding it down. So
Hey,
family good, man. We it's good family time, man. I will say that, and God bless me. I'm on a golf course right now, so I can get some rounds in, man. If I just need to get up and get away for a little bit, so it's a little exercise and something for us to do.
yeah. No, it is good. It's good to recover because you really busy. Like a lot of professionals, you out here doing a
Yeah,
lot, man. But before we dive into what you're doing now, I'm gonna take it back. I've been doing interviews, like I told you, with guys from the Peninsula District, from the Tidewater. Take it back to when you were growing up. I want to go back to
yeah,
East End. Everybody knows your story. Your 30 for 30 was great. ESPN did a great job with that, highlighting you overcoming all your stuff and becoming the person that you are. But let's go back to when you first strapped it up, man. Like, when did you know, growing up in Newport News in '75, when did you know you were going to be a good player? Like, when did you know you fell in love with the sport of football?
yeah. Cause like you say, the 30 for 30 was good. But it's still more to the story. I think it could be a part two to that. Because like the origin and what I'm about to tell you and where it all started, like it's deeper than what people can just see in a 2-hour snippet. Like when you're talking about dreams and you're talking about um, wanting to accomplish something in life, it's like a lifelong journey that you just live out, and not even knowing you living it, if it makes sense, because you got to take those proper steps. And when I was like 7 years old, I told my grandmother, like, I want to wear that Redskins logo. I want that. I didn't like the Redskins at the time, but
Yeah,
it was just the fact of what they was doing, and it was a helmet and it was shielded. And um, you know, because
you good?
sorry, my phone it went
No, you
out. So
fine. You
I got
fine.
a
Keep
phone
going.
call. I should have put my phone on airplane mode, but because back to the story, like just knowing that was something I wanted to do, like at a young age, like it drove me, it motivated me, and I was so eager to find the right answers to the questions, like how do it take to get there, and you know what am I going to have to do on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly. And it was like it was all right there, right then, and I knew if I could achieve that at some point in my life, then I'd be great at it. But it all started with that dream, and thank God I had that vision at a young age, and somebody right there, like my grandmother, to validate it for me. Because when I told her that, it was like I was making a promise to her. It's like making a promise that you're gonna graduate from high school, you're gonna graduate from college. I like made a promise, like that's what I want to do, that's what I'm gonna do. So I committed to it.
Yeah, and that drove you to becoming a very good quarterback in the Peninsula District. First, you went to Ferguson, and then that closed
Yeah,
down, and you ended up at Warwick. But before you
yeah,
got to Warwick and Ferguson, do you recall going to games at Todd and Darlin? Did you happen to see, I know you saw Aaron
yeah,
Brooks play, but did you see
yeah,
Eric Hunter? Were there other quarterbacks before you that you checked out growing up in the Peninsula District that you said, okay, yeah, he's doing
yeah. The only quarterback I can remember was Aaron Brooks. Cuz the only one that I can remember, and just the way he was able to like just be magical out there. And even on the high school level, um he was doing things that I thought I was seeing on TV. And I'm like, here you go, on the high school level, a level that I know I'm gonna have to attend and be good at, and play at a high level. He's doing it right now. So like every step of the way, I was like idolizing somebody. I also remember briefly before Aaron, James Ballard, and James was, you know, he was solid. He wore number 5. You know, just looked like he was gonna be something. And you know, that's all it takes is a look. And I still was searching for, you know, what position I really wanted to play. I was going through like a football identity crisis. Do I want to play receiver, running back, quarterback? I was all over the place in Pop Warner. And, you know, one year I just felt like I had to take a stand. You know, we lost our quarterback due to some street-related issues. And I looked at our team. We had 13 players, you know, on my 11th grade B national team. I mean, my 11-year-old B national team. And I seen I was the only guy that could play quarterback. I played quarterback, and it kind of stuck since. And, you know, so I idolized Ern, you know, and, you know, becoming a quarterback full-time, I was able to look up to Ern and just kind of like follow his path. And, you know, he went to UVA, I went to Tech, you know, after the high school years, and it was all gravy from there.
Yeah. No, Aaron and I are same year, man. So I remember seeing Aaron over at Ferguson. I was talking about him to him. I did an interview with Ahmad Hawkins and Marcus Higgins. Yeah, Ball Hawk. And we talked about the legacy in the Peninsula District, and we talked about like Aaron and them with Coach Raymond. They were ahead of their time because they were in the run and shoot 4 wides, 5 wides in the 90s, man.
Passionate.
Yeah, and they had the tall receivers with Antoine Smith and all them, and it was Moss and people before Moss even was out there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It was beautiful. What was the receiver? Eric
Smith? No.
Eric was
Jones.
Eric Jones. Yeah. Eric Jones was like a Randy Moss at that time.
Yeah.
Just athletes everywhere.
Yeah. So when you got to the Peninsula District, it's crazy because you became one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. And across town in Hampton, there was the All-American Ronald Curry, and it worked for him. Obviously, they had a squad with Blizzard and Ball Hawk and Muffin and all those guys.
Yeah.
And you over there in Warwick with Harrison, and it was almost like you were overshadowed. But you know what's amazing? I've been around Ronald. Obviously, I've been around you forever. Neither one of y'all resented each other. It was almost like y'all helped each other elevate each other's game.
Yeah, Ronald was a good dude, man, a great person. First and foremost, before being a great football player. Once I got to know him, I really kind of, you know, just fell in love with his whole, you know, persona. Like Ronald Curry was everything. First and foremost, he was, you know, a 3.0 GPA student or even higher. So he was very sharp. He was very intelligent. And then he took that to the football field. And Ronald was, you know, everything that, or even more that people thought he would become, you know, and on a high school level, the best high school quarterback to ever play the game of football. I don't care where you are in the world or where you at or what district you played in or what level you played on. I don't care, 1A, 2A, whatever they got that's you know, that makes the qualifications what they are. Listen, it was never a better quarterback than Ronald Curry. And we kind of like competed very hard, even when we wasn't playing against each other. You know, I kind of looked up to him, and I even stole a couple of his moves, cause like I cutting back across the field. I'm like, I could do that. You know, he returning punts. I'm like, I can do that. And he drove me, I drove him, and you know, I wish we would have won more games, but it was good to see the best teams win. And I think the team that he played on was probably the best team that was ever assembled in high school. I don't think there was another team in the world at that time. In the world.
No, I agree.
Like, for real, with Ronald at the helm, Ball Hawk, Blizzard, you know, Armando, you know, just the list go on and on, man. Like, those dudes was everything.
Yeah, no, they were, man. And that's special coming from you, because when I was at Tech and I was seeing you doing your thing, I know I would call and check in with you. And I was telling all my teammates at Tech, I was shouting out Ron, but I was like, yo, my cousin is the best kept secret, because in a lot of ways you were overshadowed. Everybody back home knew, but across the state, it was like, oh yeah, he's nice. And then you eventually played on, in my humble opinion, the best all-star team in Virginia high school sports.
Yeah.
You, Ron, Bobby Blizzard, Ronyell Whitaker,
Ronyell
was out there. A
Yeah.
lot of talent, man. Did you know when you were playing with those guys, did you have any inclination that, you know what, when I go on to the next level, I'm about to change the game at the quarterback position?
Nah, cuz I did not know, honestly, man. When I first got to Tech, it was probably the hardest year of my life up until that point because I never knew that football was so complicated and complex. And when I was around those guys at the All-Star game that year, I was looking around at them like they'll go pro before me. I'll be the one having to spend 4 years in college because that's what it's going to take. Not to say that my coaching coming out of high school wasn't up to par, but um, I just knew it was going to be a lot to learn. And when Virginia Tech was sending me all the videos over the summer and I was looking at, everything Jim Druckenmiller was doing in practice and Al Clark, like I was getting a tutorial, but I was watching them like, I don't know what they're doing, or I don't have a clue how did they even made that decision to throw the ball here, throw the ball there. And, just not understanding in high school, the complex position and not knowing it was going to get even harder. I thought it was hard in high school. And then watching those videos, I knew it was going to be very difficult. So, man, cuz I looked at the guys around me like, you know, they'll probably get to the next level quicker than me, but I'll get there somehow, some way. When I got to Tech, I wanted to quit that first year. I
Yeah.
wanted to leave. I wanted to leave y'all behind my freshman year. I probably shared this story with you. Coach Bustle was extremely tough on me. And that hard coaching, led me to become the man that I became in college and the player that I became because I knew he was coaching me out of love and wanted the best for me in the program. And you can't ask for too much more than that. So, one day I was going to meetings and traveling with y'all. You know how it was. I was
Yeah.
just a little young buck, just tagging along. And, one day in the meet room, it just clicked. And, I felt like after the bowl game, the Music City Bowl that year, I was ready to take over. I wish y'all the best, and I wish I could have had a year with you because that
Yeah.
'99 season was amazing.
Oh yeah, no, we always talk about that, man. I remember I shared this story on the radio segment I did last year, and I talked about how when Al was out there playing on one leg against the Canes in '98, the overtime
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
And I told people you ran the beam and Coach Height and Bustle, and you were like, "Yo, take my shirt. I'm gonna go in and play." And they were
yeah.
like,
I went
"No,
in and played.
no, yeah." And they held you out, man. And I just wondered how that would have been. I mean, Al was a warrior, a great leader, great quarterback, but I always wondered what it would have been like to play with you because seeing that '99 season was special, man. Before we talk about the '99 season, when you talk about the adjustment to playing quarterback and all the things that go into it, I hear so many people talk about, the sight adjust, identifying the mic, the
Yeah,
intricacies that go into it.
yeah,
When you look at playing for Coach Reedman and Coach Beamer and guys like Coach Bustle and the guys that you play for, did it help the fact that you had a great relationship with them to help with that transition?
yeah. The fact that we had great relationships made it easy to conversate. And when you can have an open conversation and not feel like your question that you're about to ask is a dumb question, when they like drill it in your head, like it's no such thing as a dumb question. You have to ask to receive. And Coach Bustle had a weird way of going about it. Coach Raymond also, but Coach Raymond was a running back naturally, so he didn't understand what it took to coach a quarterback. Like he got me to where I needed to be. But as far as like reading defenses and scanning and protections and 6-man fronts and 7-man fronts, like we never went through all that. And that might have been a little too complicated for a young guy like myself to learn. In addition, with knowing route combinations and where guys were going, I was used to backyard football. And once it got structured, a guy like Bustle who had experience was able to say, okay, here's this type of defense. A single high defense or a 2 high defense or, a 7-man front or an 8-man front and how to protect it within our protections on the offensive side of, 8-man calls and stack calls. You remember that language,
Oh, I
cuz? And
remember that up to this day. It's still in my head.
yeah, it's different on every level. Like when I got to the Falcons, we called it something different, but I had to learn Virginia Tech's way. So once I learned, how to really run a team, like how to really run the offense. Running the offense is looking at the play clock, you know, getting to the line of scrimmage, identifying the mic, identifying what defense they're in, identifying the coverage, knowing where your guys are gonna go, making the right decision, move the chains. There's a lot to go into it, right, cuz?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
took me a full year. Like, honestly, it took that year traveling with you guys, because I didn't get it to the end of the year. Maybe like December, going into the Music City Bowl, when it all clicked mentally, where I could explain what I'm explaining now to you, like to a whole classroom full of people, and they understand. And you know, it didn't click till late, but I needed that spring training to validate. So in the spring, me and Dave had that one-on-one battle, and they didn't give me the position, cuz one of the things I'm very proud about.
Yeah, you know what? Speak on that, because everybody just assumed when I graduate my class, you came in, oh, he would beat JMU by 40. You had to earn your first start, right?
Look. Guys know who watching this, our alumni. So Dre Kendrick, he knew. Emmett Johnson, he knew. Ronyell, everybody knew. I was in a quarterback battle with Dave for 2 weeks. It could have went longer, but after 2 weeks, it was shut down. Now, I love Dave. I love Dave like a brother. And Dave helped me out so much psychologically to become the great player that I became, because Dave was a brainiac. Like, so having him was a plus for me. And he pushed me real hard to not come off the field onto the bench and for him to enter the game. There's different types of pressures that come with the quarterback position, but it's good for the guys who love it. And cause, you know, 2-week battle, man, and you know, it wasn't given to me. That, you know, we scrimmage every Saturday, and that second Saturday, I did some things that was just like, it was uncanny, cause like you know, I just hit some passes that versus certain coverages that wasn't supposed to happen, and when coach was asking me why I did it, I had an explanation, and then I had the arm strength to do it, and then you know, that showed that I was excelling, and then I made a play in the run game and the speed option game, and like I made a move, and I was pretty much off to the races by myself, and I came back the next Monday, and I was one on the depth chart, and you know, a moment that I'm proud of, you know, not because I beat Dave out, is because I lived up to the expectations, and you know, I accepted the challenge and won.
And you know what? I hear you say that, and I saw your progressions from Ferguson to Warwick. I saw when you redshirted. I remember you almost left, and you stuck with it. And that's the thing I tell people when I talk and do radio, when I'm in the barbershop. And Ahmad Hawkins has talked about this. People who played with you. Ronyell's talked about this. Drake Kendrick. You have worked. You have earned everything, and I think that's the difference. There was no manufactured hypeness. Even having to overcome being overshadowed by the great Ronald Curry. I mean, everything was given to you, and then what you have now is you have a young man that think it's a light switch when it's actually. I've seen you talk to kids at your football camps. It's important to put that work in and dedicate yourself.
Cause and I'm very hard on the kids at my football camps, and I coach them hard. I coach them like they're going to the professional ranks. I coach them like they're gonna play professional football, because they'll remember those conversations. They'll remember, you know, the breakdowns, and when I'm coaching the quarterbacks, why I demanded that the ball come out at a certain time, or they look one side of the field before they made a decision. I coached them hard, and the reason I do that is because one time Coach Gentry came up to me and he was like, you know, I was playing around in the weight room, and he was like, Mike, I don't know if you're gonna be able to run the option the right way. And I'm like, this shit ain't no game. This ain't no game. Like, this is serious. Like, playing around the weight room, like, take everything serious. And I don't care if you're just lifting weights. Like, everything counts. Every day count, every workout count, even every day in the classroom and every practice. So now I just learned not to take anything for granted, and I don't want the next generation up and coming to take football for granted, because cuz it's serious in the trenches. I know it's serious. When you take that snap. It's not a game, and it's fun. It's fun when you master it. It's fun when you know how to do it. It's an art and craft. And, I certainly appreciate it and respect it. And I pray to God that my youngest son pick up a football and want to play.
He looked like it when I see the videos, Kiafa and your sister's post. He looked like he just look. He got that look.
Yeah, he
You know.
look brolic. Yeah, look brolic. Got the
Yeah.
big hands and everything. He's ready to
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah. So let's talk about the '99 season. What I remember most, man, is that, and I've interviewed Dre. My first spotlight was Andre Davis and Willie Powell, and we talked about the connection you guys had. You guys had a connection. But that '99 season in general, throwing the deep ball to Andre Davis, having Florida State on the ropes, man. What do you remember about that season, and what do you remember about the national championship game and the journey? Did you know in the beginning y'all would go undefeated?
Nah, cuz, like, it was so exciting. Like, that was such an exciting time, man, because, all right, so let me just take you back to the first time I ran out on that field at Virginia Tech. Can I take you back, cuz?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bro, all throughout the week, I was just nervous. Dave told me the night before, Mike, you're gonna do fine. Just do what you've been doing in practice. I run out onto the field, and I'm just looking in the sky, cuz just like, this is it. This is everything from watching Charlie Ward to Ward Dunn to, like, I mean, Tommy Frazier. I'm talking about college football greats. Now it's my turn. I step onto that field, and I'm like, I'm prepared and I'm ready. I know what to do mentally, physically. I know what to do, but I don't know what the physical gonna be like. See, here's a time in my life where I'm prepared mentally and don't know if I'm prepared physically. And what I began to realize was that I was overly prepared physically. Second play of the game, 72 yards to the crib. Second play on the quarterback draw, really. I don't care if you're playing James Madison. I don't care who it is. Touchdown is a touchdown from 70. And then I started to understand, okay, now I got to overly prepare myself mentally. And, I got hurt that game. I didn't play in the second game versus UAB. Came back against Clemson on the Thursday night. And we beat Clemson after I threw 3 interceptions. And I made a throw at the end of the game on like a 3rd and 10 that sealed the game, 14-11. We was able to run the clock out. And I had a tough game in the passing game. And Coach Buster told me, listen, a quarterback who's rattled, a quarterback who's uneasy in the pocket or just not confident, don't make that throw. Don't make that throw on 3rd and 10 when the game is on the line. Either you're going to win or lose on this pass. And I completed the pass. And it was funny because the read that I made was against a coverage that I wasn't supposed to make that throw. But Slokowski, you know what, actually, it was Derek Carter, DC, our brother DC. DC on a broken arrow down the middle. And I was only supposed to make that throw versus 2 high safety cover 2 some type of quarters look. And, the strong side linebacker, he couldn't handle DC and the mic got out of place, and I was able to fit it in a tight little gap. And that play really set up for us to go to the national championship because then, we smashed UVA the next week, and then we went to Rutgers and just killed Rutgers and, bring on West Virginia, done. And, Miami Hurricanes, and that was the challenge. And, we beat Miami 42-10 to sum it up, and it was a collective effort by all my teammates. Like, my offensive line was amazing. Ricky Hall was able to get it done on numerous occasions. Andre Davis, Dre, and Shyrone ran the rock tough, man. Defense balled out, like, all the way through, cuz. So, like, halfway through, I was like, man, we got a shot. We just got to get past Miami and not take any of the games for granted. So, no, I didn't go into the season I'm feeling like we could go all the way. It was almost like a one game at a time type of thing. But, like, I didn't do it by myself. I couldn't have did it by myself. Like, man, just everybody just played an integral part in what we was building, man. And, man, like, that team was amazing. Like, we had so much fun doing it, too.
Yeah.
Like, we joked on the buses. We joked on the plane. We gave each other a hard time. I remember one time we was all in the back of the bus, just, like, if somebody grades was dropping, and the coaches was talking about them having to like leave school or not be able to come back for a semester. We in the back of the bus, calling each other crazy names and making each other read books and read the book without fumbling, without stuff. stuttering, you know, just you got to be fluent. You like, and it was like we had so much fun because like it made us the team that we were. But we cried after that national championship game. We was in the locker room tears because you just don't know when you're gonna get back. It was such a hard year, and it was so hard to get there. We put a lot into it.
Yeah,
but it was amazing. Amazing journey.
And it was amazing, man. And I was in there. I was at a handful of your games. I remember 2 games, the West Virginia game when you went up the sideline. Because I'm watching at home, and I know Shanice was there because she saw you after the game, and a lot of my friends were there. But I was watching at home with my dad, and I was saying, "We're gonna lose to the Mountaineers, man. They weren't even that good that year." And then you and Shane, you had the run, and Shane had the kick, and you kept it going, and then the rest was history. And I was at you. You helped give me tickets to the national championship game, and I remember you guys were up 29-28, and it was going to the 4th quarter, and I was like, "Yo, Tech is about to win the national championship, man." And it's unfortunate because they've had some great teams since and haven't been able to get over the hump, man. But hopefully one day they will. When you talk about Tech, you know, the following year you come back, you know, and you had a Heisman campaign. And by the way, next time we connect, I'm gonna show you an article. I have an article I did with the Collegiate Times after my season ended. I was getting ready for the league, and I told the guy writing it, his name was Nathan, that you were going to be up for the Heisman. You guys were going to make a run at the championship, national championship, and you were going to change the quarterback position. I still got it. I got it in my scrapbook, and I remember I saw him a few years ago, and he was like, "I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I thought you were on something." That's how much, because the year before we were so close. We had 3 tough losses to UVA, Syracuse, with McNabb and them, and then the bad loss at Temple, where we up 20 and they came back. But so you had a great year at 2 years at Tech. I remember you called me. We talked on the phone before you made a decision to leave early. You said you wanted to stay, but you couldn't pass up being the #1 overall pick. When you get to the NFL, when you're on the stage, that conversation you had with your grandmother, now you sit on the stage with your mom, Brendan, everybody, Nikki, and all your family, Mark. Did it really hit you then that, like, wow, not only am I in the NFL, I'm the #1 overall pick?
Yeah, it hit me. It hit me hard, cause especially being at the draft and the fact that my grandmother was older and couldn't make it, it hurt, but it made us enjoy it that much more. And the scenery was surreal. You're at the draft, you watched it for so many years, and now you're actually there as a participant, as a draftee, and I knew exactly where I was going. I was going #1. I found out the night before. And what was crazy was I talked to my grandmother. My grandmother just kept saying, she called me Oopie. "I can't believe Oopie made it to the pros. I can't believe Oopie made it to the pros." That's all I'm talking about. That was her line. Like, if I came around the house, like my 3rd year, and I come and I used to just go in the house, and my grandmother was like 71 years old. I just give her like 20 grand. You know what I'm saying? Just she can't do nothing with it. She ain't about to do nothing with it. She ain't turning up. She's sending my sister to the grocery store. She might spend 200, and whatever. But she always same line. "I can't believe that Ubi made it to the pros. I can't believe he made it to the NFL." Because she remembered. And it was like, I didn't make her a promise. It was just an emotional decision that I made at the time, as far as my profession, and like knowing that I wanted this is where I want to go and that's what I want to be. That was an emotional, decision. That was an emotional, gesture that I made that day. Like I meant it, but I didn't know it was going to happen, cause I did not know it was going to happen, man. And I would say if I had to go back and live life again and do it all over again, I don't know if I'd make it, because so many things have to go right, from in the community to the avenue, the area you growing up in, to making the right decision in high school, to being picture perfect in college. It was kind of written for me. So, it summed it all up on draft day, when I was there. And then right from there, a whole new set of rules come into play, because now you're in the NFL and it's not college. And You don't have schoolwork. And now I'm thinking about this is a job now. Like this is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
serious stuff. And you know, obviously not wanting to be a bust in the National Football League, reshifted my focus, and you know, I set my sights on being something different in the NFL, and that was being the best player that I could be for my team and the franchise.
You know what's interesting, man? I hear you talk about it. Even now, you're an iconic figure, and yet you remain so humble. And you grew up, and we're both from the same area. We grew up, and we saw a lot of death, a lot of crime, and a lot of trauma. And yet, you know, you made it out and you became successful. But then, yet you remain humble. I've seen kids rush up to you and chase you down for your autograph. I've seen grown people do it because you're so loved and respected. Does it ever really hit you that you are an iconic figure that so many kids, even now, like, you know, even now with this new generation, they all know about you? How does that
Yeah,
make you feel?
it makes me feel good because you know I looked up to a lot of guys growing up, especially guys in our area like Bruce Smith and Sean Springs and you know Lawrence Taylor. Even though they was all different positions, like I felt like they made it. They accomplished a lifelong dream. And I think any guy who says they didn't dream of playing in the National Football League, maybe a selected few, and made it, they just got lucky, and you know they just doing it because you know it's a selected few of people. But the guys who really dreamt that dream and made it, you know, those are guys that you idolize. And now I know that it's a lot of kids that you know want to play in the National Football League. You know, they want to play college football. You know, even if it doesn't lead to the NFL, at least they graduate with a degree. And you know, it's a great goal to set. It's a great you know, it's a great avenue to take. It's you're able to show your appreciation, you know, for the sport and for the game, and what you do in doing that is you give back. Like you give as much as you can into the game of football. You put as much as you can into the game of football, and man, I just know the work ethic and all the things that you got to put in. It don't stop. It don't stop at the end of the day. So being, you know, even a retired player, I now so understand more so that the next generation is just as important. So I try to feed all that information down to them and give them as much as I can. And you know, if they look, they're gonna always look at me, whether I'm my rights or wrongs, you know, as a pattern, you know, as something to follow. So it's a great deal of responsibility to come along with it, but I get it now. I didn't get it when I was young. I understand it now. You know, I'm certainly trying to be a role model to as many as I can be, whether you know it's on or off the field.
And when you mentioned um, when you were younger, was it overwhelming? Because I know you, and I know you just want to be with your family, your friends, your teammates, your close
Yeah.
teammates. Did it overwhelm you, the fact that people just wanted a piece of Mike, that wanted you at their golf tournaments and celebrity appearances and fundraisers? Did you ever get at that time overwhelmed with it when you were younger?
Yeah, I was, and I didn't like it. I wanted to just play football, be with my family, do the things that I like, and be happy. And I thought that was life, and I thought that's the way it was supposed to be. But um, you know, as I got older, I realized it was more responsibility to what I was able to obtain in my life, and it wasn't just about me. It's bigger than me. You just one individual, but as a person, you can change many, many, many lives. And I didn't understand that at the time. You know, I thought football was the most important thing in life, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to play until I was 50. I never wanted to return until I started getting older. And like, I'm like, yo, there's other things that are important in life, and football is just a fraction of what life is all about. But it's a great gateway to relationships and friendships and opportunity. And you know, you use that to the best of your ability. But you know, you use it, you know, with you know, with substance, and you don't, you know, you don't water it down. You don't overdo it. You know, you stay in your lane. You find your niche. And that's all I tried to do for the last, you know, 5 years since I retired from football. And it's fun, man. And so giving back is amazing. Being around kids and helping kids is amazing. And, you know, it's part of life's journey, cuz I'm enjoying
Yeah,
every minute of it, every day.
yeah,
Every
yeah.
day,
And
I'm happy.
And then I always appreciate about how you have just appreciated that moment. I love seeing you give back. I wish the media would promote more of that, of you giving back. But I know you don't
Yeah,
care about that. I know that's not your thing. Um,
yeah,
I do want to touch on one thing when you hit the rough patch of your life. I remember watching Allen
yeah.
Iverson on Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith had him when he had his old show on ESPN. AI Chuck, as we know him, he was on there, and he told Stephen A. If I didn't go through what I went through when he got locked up, and I'm paraphrasing his quote, I wouldn't be who I am now. Do you
Absolutely.
do you share some of those thoughts about when you went away and everything happened with the
I,
dog fight and all of that?
yeah, yeah. Cause I try to say it so it don't sound stupid. Now, follow when I say this. I get around a crowd of people and we conversating, I'm talking, and they were like, well, it always come out. You know what? I wouldn't change a thing about my life, and they'd be like, you wouldn't change going to prison and losing money? Like, I'm like, nah, I wouldn't. And it may sound stupid because I don't want a young kid to misconstrue what I say. Like, I wouldn't change going to prison like it was cool. No, it wasn't cool. It was what I needed in my life. Mind you, I just said I'm just one person. So I'm one
Mm-hmm.
person that had to go through what God had in store for me and how He wanted to change me, and that my gateway to change, my bridge to change was prison. Okay, that's just me. So I wouldn't change that because that's what I needed in my life. Because I think it could have been much worse from the situations I was putting myself in with as much money as I had and everything that I had in my life. So, I was stupid, and I was young, and I had to learn from those mistakes. So to change me going to prison, the hurt part of it, yes,
Yeah,
the emotional part, yeah, but that's part of it. You can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. Look,
no
you're
doubt.
going, you're going. And I went, and it hurt. But I was able to educate myself. I was able to set new goals, learn so much. I felt like I came out with a brain that was just ready to take on the world, not from a football perspective, but just the world, like and doing it in a more competent way, in a more appreciative way, and keeping my family, my close ones, and heavily involved, and not wasting people's time,
No
especially
doubt.
my own. So I was extremely focused. So I wouldn't change it. That's what made me into the person I am. And I'm still reevaluating my principles to this day and start always trying to, you know, um, reconfigure things because, that's what life is all about.
All about.
Yeah.
So you get out. I remember you get out, man. We wrote each other a few times, and you get out, and you set the league on fire. You come back and you said that, and I knew it because I remember at one of my old jobs, I was telling people they were talking about, well, he's going to probably be put in punt returner or,
Go
and
ahead.
I was like, bro, y'all just don't know. I knew you and I had talked, and then you get with Philly. Andy gives you a shot. Donovan McNabb signs off on it because y'all have a relationship, a close relationship.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, they trade him. Cobb gets hurt. Everyone knows the story. And then you finished ultimately second in the MVP voting behind the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But you set the league on fire. When you look back with Deshaun and Macklin and Shady, first of all, that team was loaded. Was that one of your funnest times you had? I know Atlanta was very special and still special to you, but was that the
Yeah.
funnest time you had in the league?
Yeah. I had my best years in Philly. And not from a football perspective. My teammates was great. Like those young guys, they were so fun to be around. And they count, I was approaching 30, and they was all in like their early 20s. So it was just fun, vibrant. They was lively every day, and they knew how to focus when they needed to focus. That was most important. And nobody plays around with Andy. Like Andy Reid, he don't screw around. Like the only guy who could have got me to return a punt in my career was Andy Reid. That's the only man who could get me to return a punt. If he called me like, Mike, yo, I need you to come return a punt one time this season, I'd do it for him. So playing in Philly, man, like it was a breath of fresh air. I didn't come in starting, and I had to earn my way, and I was able to earn my way into, a starting role, and it just took a lot of hard work. Like the one thing Coach told me was like, man, you're gonna have to work your ass off. You're gonna have to find a way to get back into what you want in this game. Like it's all right here. It might not happen this year. Next year might be 3 years from now, but you got to work. Like you're a little overweight, a little pudgy, you know, whatever. And I don't even get pudgy, but I came home from prison pudgy. And it was just a long journey. But he was there to support me. My teammates was there to support me. I had a great time in Philadelphia, man. Those guys was great. And outside of that, the city, the acceptance of the city, like to me, was everything. Like I still miss Philly. I hate when I fly into Philly and I got to go out there, be out there, and I can't just experience that experience again.
Yeah.
It was a great time, man. Like I love Atlanta. I love Pittsburgh. I love when I was in New York, but Philly was special. The city is special, special city.
Yeah. So then, a couple of games, man. I want to ask you about, man. I remember, you know, when you always came to DC, you know, you would always look out for tickets and whatever. And I remember we always would meet up the night before the game in the hotel. And I remember when y'all were playing the Redskins, your Hall of Fame game. And I remember in there, I saw Brian Mitchell and there was other guys, you know, because all the players and media people in the lobby or in the bar area. And you were sitting there, you were like, cuz, I remember you told me, you said, oh, we got something for him. And I said, what? You said, yeah, first play. And I said, all right. And I didn't know, you didn't tell me to play. You didn't give me the verbiage. And I was like, all right. You said, oh, we got something. And then I remember I didn't go. I actually went home and didn't go. I watched it from home because it was raining a little bit that night. And it was on a Monday. I had to work.
Yeah.
And I remember you drive back and you did the rollout, play action rollout, and you hit Deshaun on a bomb and you never look back. Y'all, I mean, and I've seen you play some great games going up from high school on up. That to me, along with the Miracle in the Meadowlands, the Miracle in the Meadowlands and that game against the Skins, the two of the best games I've ever seen you play, man. When you going through those moments and you playing, you in the zone, is it similar to what basketball players talk about, how they're in the zone, they can't miss? Was that the same kind of feeling you had?
Yeah, you're in the zone, you can't miss. The game is slowed down. You're seeing everything, every movement. The defense can't get nothing past you. It's like you can't get nothing past me today. You can try to disguise a blitz. You can zone blitz. You can all out cover zero blitz. You can do whatever you want to do today. You know, and it's not going to work because I see it coming. I know my guy's going to be. And we're extremely talented. Like, you know, I got guys all over the place who can make plays. So don't get out of pocket. And it was one of them games. You know, and the fact that, you know, Donovan had got a big contract before the game. It was, I mean, you got to go show your worth.
Oh, no doubt.
You got to show your worth. And what better stage to do it on than Monday night? And I was like, he got a contract 2 hours before the game. You know, nothing against Donovan. That's my boy. I love him. But you can't do that when you got another competitor on the other side. You can't reward a guy 2 hours before the game. And I'm in a contract year, basically. I got to go in.
Yeah.
I got to go in. And everything got to be spot on.
Yeah. And you and Deshaun had that chemistry very similar, almost exactly how you and Andre Davis had. I mean, you guys had that chemistry, man. And they were both burners. And they were both speeders, you know?
Yeah, you give me a guy who can run deep, who can go deep. Like, I threw the best deep ball in the league. Like, I love all quarter. I'm a fan of every quarterback in the league. They know it. But I feel like I threw the best deep ball in the league.
Oh, yeah. It's still proven.
I probably still win a deep ball challenge. That's what I'm going to challenge the older guys to a deep ball challenge. Yeah, some fun doing that. But I felt like I threw a good deep ball. One of the better ones in the league. And, you know, so you give me a guy with speed, I was always able to connect with him and figure out the timing and when to let the ball go and when it needs to drop, how fast they was going to get to 40 to 43 yards. You know, little particulars that you got to know when throwing a deep ball and mashing it. So, yeah, it was cool. It was fun. Deshaun was the guy.
Yeah, I just have a few more questions, man. When you look at, you mentioned the quarterbacks, you led me to my next question, the quarterbacks playing today. And I know you are full of humility and you don't get caught up in yourself unless you have to remind people and let them know. But when it comes to looking at the game now, I love the new guys, the new age guys, you know, the Deshaun Watsons and the Lamar Jacksons, Russell
Kyler Murray's. Yeah.
When you see them play, I know you interact with them because of your NFL job with Fox and the other stuff you're doing. When you see them play, do they still talk to you? Do you still mentor them? Do you see like do you enjoy it like the next man, the next fan?
You know what? You know, every chance those guys get, I always find an article or something where they shout me out somehow, some way, or somebody making a reference. And you know, it's not their job to always, you know, compare themselves to other guys and tell who they idolize. It should just come up random, and I think it do, and they all do it so organically that it constantly reminds me of, you know, why they play the position the way they play the position. And you know, I think they, you know, they understand what it takes to play the position. They understand how hardcore you got to be when you play it, and they do it with precision. And those guys are better passers than I were. You know, so that means their evolution of who taught them not just to be a fierce runner or, you know, escape artist, but be efficient in the passing game. I had to learn that over the years. You know, once I got to Andy, I was able to master it and get better. You know, but they doing it young, and that's why most of them are playing in championship games and Super Bowls. And Patrick Mahomes is just like everything that Andy wanted him to be or made him. You know, so that don't surprise me. But you know, talent is talent, and those guys they grew up watching me and Cunningham and not Cunningham, maybe Donovan. Yes, me and Donovan. So they know what it's like to have a guy who was elusive
No
and
doubt.
what it could do to defense.
So you mentioned early in the interview, man, you know, you learned that there's so much more than football and you grew and matured to appreciate your life, your family, your friends, and all your experiences. Let everybody know now, what are you doing from working on Fox to your community service, your camps, V7? This is the time for you to just let people know, because I
Yeah.
think when I get asked about you and I tell people what you did, say, oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, he has this and that. Like, just, you know, when we're back to normal, there's no quarantine. What do you got going on?
Well, still just trying to become the best, you know, sports analyst that I can be, because I think in life you can do a lot of things, but you can't do everything, and it's something that you got to be real, you know, adamant in becoming the best at. And I think, you know, a broadcaster analyst is what I have to continue to focus on, and you know, still practicing in the house and still looking at all my notes. And you know, I want to be the best at it. I always want to give valuable information, the best information that I can. And, you know, sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's going to be bad. I accept that, you know, but that's part of my job of teaching from afar, you know, the game of football, and still work, you know, within the community, still rehabbing boys and girls clubs and community centers all across the world, giving kids a sanctuary and a place to grow and a place to believe. I'm extremely adamant about giving back, and you know, like, you know, the platforms that's been created for me, I want to create them for, you know, kids who don't have, you know, don't have it or come from, you know, struggling backgrounds, or, you know, just not even if you're struggling, you don't have to be any particular type of kid, just any kid with a dream. You know, I want to try to help them continue to dream. And, you know, just a bunch of other stuff. I got a couple of deals that I'm working on right now that's going to be very beneficial. Um, Still got V7 jumping, about to partner up and do like a golf line with a company, and you know, I think that's gonna be cool because of my transition into golf and how much I love it. So just trying to cross over as much as I can, and you know, you know, I live a quiet life because it's family oriented, man. My kids and my wife, you know, my mom's sisters, you know, my brother, they mean everything to me. So you know, I try to, you know, cater to them as much as I can and show them as much love as I can, man, and try to be around, because you just never know. You
You
never
never
know. The
know.
world is crazy right now. Look at
Yeah,
the fight everybody in the world is fighting, and I hope they fighting a good fight and doing the
yeah,
right things. And that's staying indoors and staying protecting themselves and the people around them.
no doubt. One last question, man, and we'll wrap up. If you were talking when I put this out there, but even if you weren't on this and you were talking to a bunch of kids or just people in general, and they're struggling or trying to find their way, what kind of advice would you give them? Not just young men, but kids or families in general. Like,
Yeah,
what would you tell them?
yeah. Well, I tell them, listen, it wasn't easy for me, and if you look at probably 98% of the guys who play professional sports, or 98% of the people who are successful in life, it was a struggle at some point or another. it, I mean, it's not easy. It's not just given. You look at owners in the National Football League and owners in the NBA. You read up on their backstories. They struggle. Everybody struggle. Everything is not gonna be handed to you, you know, on a silver platter. Like, you're gonna have to work for it. You're gonna have to dream about it. You're gonna have to go get it. And you know, the toughest days and when you're down should be the days that make you stronger and make you better. You know, because I did 548 nights in prison. You know, my family was out here and we didn't have anything basically. Support from a couple of different people, and that was about it. But
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't what it was, you know, the year prior. And we made it through it, man. We made it through it. We hung in there. We cried together. We laughed together. Even when we had nothing, we laughed together. And we came out of it. But that's because we all believe that, you know, better days are ahead. And we got God in our corner. So I sum all this up to say this. Keep God first. Keep God first. Say your prayers at night. Ask God for what you want. And meet him halfway. You got to meet him halfway. And done dilly.
No doubt, man. Well, I appreciate you, man. I just want to tell you again, you know, I always text, we check in with each other. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of the man you're becoming. I love you to death. And I appreciate you jumping on, man. All right?
I love you, cuz. Call me.
All right. All right. Take care. Thank you, Mike.
All right, baby.